thought I'd reach the end of a long, long journey, only to find it's not over, and there's so much more to discover. Somewhere in unknown space, in the bright sea of stars, another star is calling to dream on and keep on searching. As long as there are dreams burning in the hearts of the young, for as long as there's desire, you never tire. Galaxy Express 39 will take you on a journey, a never-ending journey, journey to the stars. I thought I'd reach the end of a long, long journey, only to find it's not over, 'cause there's so much more to discover. Somewhere in the unknown space, in the bright sea of stars, another star is calling to dream on and keep on searching. As long as there are dreams burning in the hearts of the young, for as long as there's desire, you never tire. A Galaxy Express 39 will take you on a journey, a never-ending journey, a journey to the stars. Express 39 we take you on a journey, a never-ending journey, journey to the stars, to the stars. Come on, baby, let me take you on this journey to the stars. Can't get no sleep tonight, it's all because of you. Even though I was with you and we just said goodnight, cheeks are burning red for you, heart is beating fast for you. At last, at last, oh, it is my first kiss to with you. I will give you all my love. Why is it I feel this sweet and tender? Oh, I don't know why. It is my first kiss too. It's with you. I will give you all my love. Yes, I know it's strange for a man to cry. Can't hold back being in love with you. When we meet again, I know just where we'll go. All my dreams of tomorrow can't help but grow and grow. All this love I give to you, give eternally to you, for sure, for sure. Oh, it is my first kiss too. with you. I will give you all my love. Why is it I feel this sweet and tender? Oh, I don't know why. It is my first kiss too. Kiss with you. I will give you all my love. Yes, I know it's strange for a man to cry. Can't hold back being in love with you. My first kiss too is with you. I will give you all my love. Why is it I feel this sweet and tender? Oh, I don't know why. It is my first kiss too is with you. I will give you all my love. Yes, I know it's strange for a man to cry. Can't hold back being in love.
what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words,
that man, who is he? Who is he? Who is he? He is called the devil man, he's devil man. Some say he's a traitor, they say he's cold as ice. He's the man who sacrificed everything to fight. Devil arrow at the speed of light, devil ears guide him in the night. Devil wings, he's the lord of the skies. Devil beam, a ray of fire. With evil powers close at hand, the devil's in command. He's a hero, so just and fair. He's devil man, he's devil man. One day he was touched by the kindness of a man. The other humans love he began to understand. Devil chop, the power of his fist. Devil eyes see clear in the mist. Devil kick, break your every bone. Devil cutter, crushing stones. With evil powers close at hand, the devil's in command. He is a hero, so just and fair. He's devil man, he's devil man. With evil powers close at hand, the devil is in command. He is a hero, so just and fair. He's devil man. He's devil man.
Happiness is just a word to me. It might have been a thing or two if I know the difference. Emptiness, a lonely parody. My life a smoking gun, the sign of my indifference.
I know I've let you down. I've been a fool to myself. I thought that I could live for no one else. But now, through all the hurt and pain, it's time for me to respect the ones you love mean more than anything. So with sadness in my heart, feel the best thing I could do is end it all and leave forever. What's done is done, it feels so bad. What once was happy now is sad. I'll never love again, my world is ending. I wish that I could turn back time, 'cause now the guilt is all mine. Can't live without the trust from those you love. I know we can't forget the past. You can't forget love and pride. Because of that, it's killing me inside. It all comes tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down. It all returns to nothing. I just keep letting me down, letting me down, letting me down. In my heart of hearts, I know that I could never love again. I've lost everything, everything, everything that matters to me matters in this world. I wish that I could turn back time, 'cause now the guilt is all mine. Can't live without the trust from those you love. I know we can't forget the past. You can't forget love and pride. Because of that, it's killing me inside. It all returns to nothing. It just keeps tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down. It all returns to nothing. I just keep letting me down, letting me down, letting me down. It all returns to nothing. It just keeps tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down. It all returns to nothing. I just keep letting me down, letting me down, letting me down. It just keeps tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down.
thought to find you in this place. Seeing your heart flowing and your bright eyes glowing makes my very core. Wish I could breathe in the same dimension. I don't wanna let it go. Now that I am finally faced with the voice I've known for so long, I don't know what the words should be, but the very first I say to you, back in the sensitively state, been looking everywhere for you. Oh, I love the sound of your innocent laughter and it guiding me in the right way. Even if every piece of you disappeared and if it's scattered everywhere, no, I won't waver. I will stop at the one, look for you all over again. Or maybe instead I take the whole universe right back to zero again.
I cannot tell you guys how much I struggled to put on this dress. This is a very tight-fitting dress, chat. Let me just say that. And also, I just got out of a hot shower, so now I'm all sweaty. Sorry, sweaty. So we're just gonna calm down a little bit. Also, to ruin the illusion, I am wearing sweatpants. So, Faln, thank you for the follow. Amazing. And I screwed up my eye makeup, so. And I'm shiny because I also did my skincare right before this. So if my makeup smears, you are obligated to tell me. Hey, Bink Princess. Nia. All right, real quick, I need to take a selfie and let people know that I will be doing this panel. For those of you who think that you are going to get visuals of the other participants, you are wrong. It's audio only from everybody, so if you don't want to watch me, you can go to Lumi Rue's channel, Goddamit Malcolm's channel, etc. Otherwise, you're stuck with me. All right. All right. Fuck. I get so stressed when I get invited onto things. Gotta hit those Instagram angles. Well, too bad. We hit whatever angles those were. There we go. Irked, you little complimenter, you. See ya, Ashmar. Y'all, I do not look good at every angle. I guarantee you, if you were sitting like right over there looking at me, I'd be like a weird little gremlin. I did work out today though. Chun-Li! Hello, lovely! Thank you for being with me for 14 months. And I'm gonna head over there in about a minute. I look like Smeagol. You do not. I look well. I'm trying. But, oh yeah, I worked out today, so I did 10 push-ups and was dead. And then I also did a minute and a half long plank and about 25 sit-ups and leg raises. And my midsection is dead because I am a weak little bench. Okay? That's been my main accomplishment today. Okay. Yes! Honestly, Arcasincus, I just want sexy Zelda mixes. Now, I don't know that I'm a sexy lady, but that's what I want. That is impressive. I would literally die. I don't know. I want to work my way up to doing like 50 of each and like 3-minute planks. That's my short-term goal. Hi, Rapti here, peeking in my chat. Hell yeah. Okay, I am hopping in. Very
I'll do this better, but I'm starting this completely from scratch with only a little bit of stuff, so I don't know anything about organizing panels or anything like that. So
Oh, you
bear
got
with
it.
me.
Okay, I think I'm in the room. I don't know if I'd need to do anything else.
Yeah, I was gonna write up a list of points to bring up, but I forgot.
That's fine.
Thank you for gifting
I
a
have
sub to
the
Princess
list of
Fina.
prompts in the
Rap
planning
tea,
Discord,
gotcha.
and I have a few other things too. Okay, and there is Lumi, invite to speak, and Riverboat Jack, invite to speak. Okay, Lumi's here, and Riverboat Jack. Let's see. Pop into your.
Howdy.
Okay, so I've invited you to speak, Riverboat Jack. You might need to break the stage or something.
Hello?
It should say something like raise your hand or something.
Oh.
And can't see that because it's. I'm trying to get you up here. Is it?
Is it limited
Oh, heck.
to just 4?
Not like this.
Jack, no.
What?
Whoop.
I'm here.
Okay, so what I'm going to do,
That's
Jack,
kinda
is
messy.
I'm going to dismiss the request to speak. I'll just go ahead and okay. If you click on the
That's
scheduling
gonna get
stage,
shifted. We're gonna
there
have
should be
to.
something that says raise your hand to speak or request to speak. You go ahead and do that, and I can approve it. We'll see if we can get that done. Come on. Work.
There we go.
There we go. And now I need to close out of hearing myself in audio from the stream.
We gotta
All
get
right.
the push to talk.
Yeah. All right. If we could just quickly just have everyone say a couple words to make sure that the audio is for everyone. So
Hello,
let's start.
hello.
Okay, Malcolm. Yeah, I think you sound good. Rapti.
Beautiful.
'Twas brilliant and slightly toves.
All right, Jack.
Hello, everybody.
Lumi.
Good evening, lovelies.
All right. Does anyone have any audio issues with anyone?
Nope.
You're all beautiful sounding.
Yeah, everyone's sounding okay.
All right, then let me get to my notes here. All right. Well, I would like to welcome everyone to the first of the Weird Queers discussion panels. I would like to reiterate first that this is a discussion panel, not a debate panel. It is for queer people by queer people to talk about queer issues. We might have a straight person, well, a cis het person on every once in a while, but I do want this to be mainly for queer people. But Dave, I can just, since this is the very first one, does anyone mind if I just do a quick spiel about what I want to do with this? Just
No,
like
go for it.
5 minutes or so.
Yep, go.
All right. Well, I decided to start this about a month and a half or so ago when I looked around and saw the state of some panel shows. I want to specify that I'm not talking about Lumi or Malcolm's panels, and just saw that they weren't in the best shape, and I decided that I wanted to do my own panel with xenogenders and neopronouns. And at about that time, someone had made the offhand comment that it was the weird queers that had defended somebody for their right to identify how they did identify, and that really kind of stuck with me. And another reason I want to do this is because, granted, I tend to be more on YouTube than Twitch, but I haven't really seen anyone do a comprehensive LGBT education type series since Ash Hardell went off YouTube and offline to basically live their best life, which they have most definitely earned. And I was also tired of seeing queer people and queer issues just being another debate of the week about, like, well, should trans people exist and stuff like that. And so I decided to make this. Yeah, and one of the things that I wanted to do specifically is as a okay. So I am Alora Anophis. I am a moderator for Demon Mama, who some of you may know, some of you may hate, some of you may have a love-hate relationship with her. Some of you may not know who she is. But in my position, I tend to actually at least be semi-close within like a degree or so of separation of a decent number of bigger name streamers, and I figured I have this small amount of power and influence on as a moderator on a micro celebrities Discord, so I wanted to use it. And one of the things that I really want to do is make sure that we raise up the trans mass community, which is basically invisible for a lot of different reasons. And actually, it was a discussion with Goddamit Malcolm right here on the stage in the server that introduced us to the topic that we have today. Which I'll get to
Kind of a big deal. No worries.
Yes, thank you, Malcolm. You are great as always.
Stop. Don't give me any more compliments. That will make me embarrassed. I'm just kidding.
Okay, I will only insult you for the rest of the day.
Perfect. That's what I like.
There are a couple of series that I want to run an education series, which divided into a bunch of smaller series. I want to do a trans series, which I am tentatively calling gender fuckery, just because. I want to do an A-spec panel that covers ASA and Aero topics. I want to do an M-spec panel for bi, pan, omni, poly, and when I say there, I mean like the polysexual and romantic, not to be confused with polyam, which I do also want to cover in another series, which is about relationship dynamics, and maybe another series about the intersection of religion and spirituality and religious trauma, maybe because that's a huge thing,
Yeah,
as
that'll
we
be a
all
good
know.
one. That'll be actually pretty
Um,
good.
yeah. So, now that the intro is out of the way, I will get around to the topic that we are discussing tonight. Something that I had noticed, but didn't really notice until I was talking with Malcolm a month and a half or so ago. I think it was that there's is, or at least there seems to be. Again, this is my experience on the internet, and it's a bubble, and you can never actually see the entire queer community. But there seems to be a big C trans mask community made up of a bunch of smaller trans mask um, people and creators and all that stuff. And I stopped to think about it, and it didn't really seem like there was anything like that in the trans femme side of the trans community. And I'm not sure if there is in the non-binary side either. I haven't really spent a whole lot of time in dedicated non-binary spaces. And it occurred to me that in most of the trans femme spaces, it was a bunch of trans femme small C communities, but no big C communities, so like an overarching trans femme community. And that maybe this is just me, but it seems like trans femme communities tended to be more generally queer spaces, so that just that everyone was in, but not really a trans femme space. And I spent some time on Malcolm's Discord, and it is a very trans mask space. And I want to be clear, I'm not judging or anything like that. Um, I think that there is room, and there should be room, for both the focused and the generalization of it. I like to use big words, so when I name this panel on the planning Discord, I use the terms atomization versus collectivization. um, but basically, I brought you all here today because I would like to discuss how the online trans community, again, in your bubbles and experience, which are subjective and are part of the huge, are, are not objective because we're all human. Um, to talk about how your community's formed and the over. I am suddenly lost for words as I'm trying to wrap things up. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about. I'll just
Um,
end that there, and I will open the floor. Oh, I intend to be the moderator this evening. I don't intend to actually really participate. Um, I am not neutral. I will try to be fair. But aside from trying to push things along or move things in specific directions, my intention is to let you all speak as much as you can. Again, I don't think I gave my pronouns, so I am Laura. I go by they, them. And if you could go around and introduce yourself and give your pronouns and I guess opening statements is what we could call it, but just start talking.
I can start off. So, my name's Rapti. Well, I actually prefer no pronouns, but in a pinch, I'll take she, her. Uh, Basically, I guess if we're doing opening statements and such. So,
Could I
it,
just interrupt
sorry?
just 1 second? Sorry, Rappy. I, I will say, Malcolm, Jack, and Lumi are all streaming. So if you're on the Discord and want to see something that's live and not just the Discord stage, you can go there. Rappy, I don't know if you're streaming. But
No.
You are not. Okay. So Lumi, Jack, and Malcolm are all streaming. I will get those Twitch links in the stage audience um, channel. So sorry to interrupt. Rappy, please go.
No worries. So basically, I come here. I'm a sorry, tongue tied. I am the colorist for a web comic called the Out of Placers, which is a very queer friendly comic. We actually have a lot of trans fans and such in there. I am also a furry artist. I draw a lot of furry art, and something that I've really noticed with the furry community and furry art in specific is that there are a lot. I believe there are actually maybe more trans mask furry artists than there are trans femme. I'm not certain, but um, fans tend to be grouped up around individual artists. But there is still the overall arching community because we all have shared interests, in anthro animals, which sort of transcends any like specific groups. Um, and I like just real quick, like furry conventions are pretty much the queerest spaces you'll ever see, honestly. So that's just my experience right now.
I can
guess-
go.
Oh, fuck.
Go
ahead, Jack, you're good.
Yeah, so my experience has been like all over the place, right? Like coming to terms with my own gender identity. Like I didn't really know where to start because I come from a very fundamentalist Christian background where like even talking about gay people was kind of not acceptable. And so I didn't know where to go when it came to like figuring out gender. And I guess I should real quick introduce myself. Hi, I'm Riverboat Jack. I use she, her. I'm a trans woman. But yeah, when we're talking about like these communities, that was one of the things I really, really struggled with at the very beginning. And so I found myself in a lot of weird fringe communities, like communities that cater towards I'm not gonna lie, like UK based chaser men. Like those were like the communities where I found like some measure of like acceptance online when I was looking around. And it's I don't know what the experience is like for like trans mask folk. If you have more dedicated communities that are easier to access or something, but my experience was very much that it's kind of like a like for trans women, like there are so many different community pitfalls that you can fall into where like you find acceptance on like 4chan, for example, or you find acceptance posting in the like trap community on Reddit, and like it can just be really it can be kind of dangerous, to be honest, trying to find that community. So when I set out to like build my own community here on Twitch, I wanted people to know that they were safe and that they weren't going to be like sexualized in within the community,
All right. Yeah, I can definitely understand that. Malcolm, how about you go next?
For sure. I'm Malcolm. I use he, him pronouns. I'm Goddamit Malcolm on everything. I host all Trans Mask Everything panels on Twitch every Sunday, except for the Sundays when I just don't feel like it. I have spent a majority of my time transitioning and being trans, both like social transition and medical transition in online spaces. When I was medically transitioning, there weren't a lot of resources available, similarly to Jack. And I feel like this is kind of like a common thing where you're kind of isolated when you first come out, pursuing medical intervention, pursuing therapy or whatever that might look like for whatever individual. So I sought a lot of refuge online. Pretty much everywhere that I came across, or every group that I felt comfortable participating in, was a trans masculine group. We seem to have like the monopoly on Facebook groups, and that's probably a bad thing, to be completely honest with everybody. We also had the monopoly on Tumblr for quite a while with all the cringe thirst traps and all that other good stuff. Something that I find, or the reason that I kind of got into streaming and talking about trans masculine issues in the first place, is that outside of the little internet communities that we make for ourselves, we're pretty much invisible. A lot of the primary care physicians that I've had over the course of my medical transition didn't even know like what a trans man was. All of them thought that I was trans woman. Educating them on like surgeries and a lot of other stuff. I mean, that's common for most trans people, but most of the people that I encountered knew what a trans woman was, but not what a trans man was. And especially in online spaces when we see a lot of political discourse, a lot of kind of drama, like debate discourse around trans people, trans masculine people and trans men are almost always left out, and their experiences speculated on, often wrongly, which is why I wanted to get more involved in like spaces where we're having discussions about trans issues and trans topics and trans politics, and inject a little bit of nuance with a trans masculine experience, and give trans masculine people a space in these communities to like hang out, vibe, talk about this kind of stuff. I have nothing against mixed groups where there's trans femme and trans masculine people. However, I think there is utility in each of us having a place where we can go if we just want to be around, other trans femmes or other trans masks and what have you. I think there's great utility in that. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Thanks, Malcolm. Yeah, that I do want to stress that. Yeah, I I agree that there is utility in that, and I'm not trying to just so we're 100. Well, I suppose at this point it can be about 500% clear. I just want to be stressed that there is value in both, and I'm not trying to judge or cause anyone else to judge either approach. So Lumi, left turn to you.
Oh, thank you. I'm Lumi Rue. I use any all pronouns except for he, him, she, her. So feel free to get freaky with it or just stick with they, them. That's cool too. Um, I I think we're all going to agree that there's some pros and some cons to each. Having a more specific group for trans mask, trans femme, etc. We have our own specific needs, but coming together is really powerful as well. So I'm looking forward to diving into the depths of that. I actually started, my community is very mixed, but I ran a little bit of a survey beforehand in my Discord to see, what is the distribution in my community? And I found out non-binary people actually are the majority of our community. And then, or they are leading, I should say. Right after that, we've got cis men and then trans women. And then very, very at the bottom, we have cis women and trans masc. So I found that kind of interesting. I did notice that trans masculine people tend to be kind of lacking in our space. And I wondered why that was. One of the reasons I was excited to see that Malcolm was out there with the all trans mask everything, so we could start getting that missing perspective. I actually started originally, I ran into a non-binary community, an entirely non-binary community on Facebook, which is how I started learning about and realizing I was non-binary. Since then, I hadn't tried to have a particular mix in my community. It was really meant to be for everyone. But I do think it's nice to have that mixture when possible to get, bring the perspectives together. And that tends to be what I aim for.
All right, and I think that will jump us into the first discussion topic that I think would be interesting to do. From your perspective, in your respective spaces, um, Lumi has already discussed it a little bit. What is your community? is it more a generalized or is it more specific to the community? Just that's good information to know just as we keep going into it, and it's also, I think, kind of interesting just on general kind of way. So yeah. Uh, am I quiet? Okay. I will try to fix that. But go ahead and yeah. Whoever wants to kick it off.
Just to confirm, so you're saying are the communities that we have, are they intended to be specific or general? I want to make sure
Um,
I got that.
I'm more asking, what is the makeup of your community right now? Like, just generally, um, what kind of makeup do you have? Just
Oh,
what is it right now?
well,
It's worth asking.
sorry. I, for, well, I know for the community, just to, sorry, meant to mention earlier that, yeah, the comic actually does have a pretty decent sized community out of placers, and I've been managing a lot of stuff over there. So that community is primarily trans femme, overwhelmingly trans femme. Um, the furry trans artist community is mostly trans mask, with a lot of NBs, and the furry community as a whole, not quite certain. I think the distribution is a bit even at that point.
Yeah. I mean, for my community, it the makeup is relatively spread out, I would say. Um, though I would say there's probably a notable like lack of trans mask people in my community. Um, we do tend to have more trans femme and NB folks, as well as cisgender and uh, mixed in. But I've never done like a formal survey or anything, so I'm not exactly sure what the demographic makeup is of the of my community. But that's something I definitely want to look into as I grow bigger, just so I can be aware of that in my coverage of politics and such.
I would say that my community is predominantly transmasculine. We tend to stick to ourselves, unfortunately, which is a little disappointing to see. But there are plenty of other people in my community as well, but it's probably mostly transmasculine people.
Yeah, so I can give you my numbers of who has answered. We had 50 non-binary people respond, 45 cis men respond, 32 trans, or I should say 45 cis, or trans masculine. I'm sorry, trans
masculine. That's my gender.
Oh, no. It's cis men. Holy fuck, I messed this up. I'm so sorry. And then 32 trans femme, and then 7 respectively women and trans mask. I was wondering, Malcolm, or if anyone's familiar, why that would be. Why do you think trans mask people tend to stick to themselves? That's something I'm very curious about, because I would definitely like to get that perspective more in our community. I know we've been enriched with Malcolm coming over and talking, and so yeah.
I think a lot of it has to do with I think it's because a lot of trans people, like in media and stuff like that, are generally not in, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but are generally just kind of overlooked. So if we're talking about like bathroom bills, or we're talking about trans sports, the focus of like the media cycles is always on trans women. So that dominates a lot of the discourse. So one, I feel like a lot of trans masculine people have a hard time kind of like injecting themselves into that discourse when they're not like primarily affected by a lot of this stuff. And I think the other part too is that trans people, I think, I think this is true for everybody too. We really like to do the thing where like I have it worse, and I think that those kind of spats where it's like, oh well, you know, trans women have it worse in this aspect, and trans men have it worse in this aspect, and then we kind of go back and forth into oblivion for eternity about who has like worse circumstances. I think that kind of like schisms the community. I feel like sometimes, and this happens in trans masculine spaces that are dominant, where there are trans femmes, where if they talk about their experiences, it's kind of like, oh well, yeah, but we have to deal with X, Y, and Z. So like that's great for you, but we also have all of these problems. So I think it's just like things kind of like infighting that kind of fragments us a little bit. So we like to stick to our own, where we can kind of talk about things that affect us collectively without the like voice in the back of your head that's like, but it's not as bad as X, Y, and Z. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I
And
think.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I think there's like a
Oh,
degree of
go ahead,
like
sorry.
conflict here, like where it's not. I don't think it's necessarily intentional on for the most part on either group. It just winds up being that I think a lot of people experiencing that oppression like almost get defensive about like what they've been through, um, and it can be hard to like I guess expand that definition or
And
expand that experience.
it seems to me that probably the one of the best ways to counteract this would be to get trans mass people more visibility. So, Malcolm, do you have any suggestions on where to go, uh, or people to talk to get more trans mask representation in like Twitch and YouTube spaces, if they want to bring them on a chat
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah, I can drop some links for some people that I know that make good content that I usually watch myself. I think that the biggest thing would be a lot of people. So like in regards to like kind of conversations on Twitch or like debate panels or like when people are talking about trans issues and shit like that, something that can be really useful is just like talking to trans masculine people so you understand like their perspectives instead of just like making assumptions about their perspectives, because that seems to be like the biggest issue why people I think are hesitant to like involve themselves in the space is because there's already preconceived notions for like our own community. So I would say like one, like consuming more trans masculine content or like talking to trans masculine people, and then two, this is something that I feel like I have done very well at. It's just kind of like stay in my lane. So if somebody wants to talk about like trans issues or whatever, and they're dabbling in this and that and the other thing and going to all kinds of shit that I don't know a lot about or that are irrelevant to me as a person, I'm like, well, you know, here's somebody that you can talk to that kind of deals with this kind of stuff or has this experience or identifies this way. Instead of like steel manning every trans issue. I think that as content creators, we're all a little bit narcissistic and think that we can tackle every single conversation on our own. And I think it's really important to know when to just be like, pass the torch, right? Like if somebody wanted to come and talk to me about like non-binary identities or like xenogenders or neopronouns, I'm not non-binary. I don't use neopronouns, and I am not a xenogender person. So one, I would either consult somebody who is xenogender, or I would refer somebody to somebody who I know is comfortable talking about this who is xenogender. So just like being able to and willing to like take a step back when it's not up your alley or your area of expertise, I think would be something that would be really useful.
I personally, I don't like. I understand the importance of having people, you know, being able to speak to their own specific experiences and understand the staying in your lane mentality, and I respect that. But um, perhaps it's maybe because of the kind of communities I've been in, but there's a lot of like cross advocacy, I guess, like because we do interact with, you know, a lot of people, other people a lot. So we have like I'm not going to speak up to what the, for example, the trans mask experience is because I haven't known it, but you know there are still some parallels, I guess, that people can have, and I try to personally, so rambling here, uh, I try personally to help people identify what makes them in common with each other. Ultimately, yeah.
Yeah, there. I think there's like a line here, right? Like I think that as members of like this trans community just generally, I think we should have a basic understanding and have the ability to kind of advocate for one another's groups. But also just, and this is just a general thing, if you don't know something, it's we should be just comfortable saying we don't know, you know? Like,
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm not super comfortable talking about like in depth on like xenogender issues, but like I can explain what they are in like a vague sense to give someone like an idea that it's not just like some silly Tumblr meme thing, you know, that doesn't deserve respect. Um, but at the same time, like, you know, it's also good to be able to, you know, refer people, like, if you want to know more, you could go talk to X, you know, or Y. And so I think that there's a middle ground here where you should be able to, like, just as a content creator, have like the ability to give basic explanations of like other parts of the community, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and briefly, and yeah, I think it's important also that one speaks up front to what what knowledge you have, where you'd be like, I don't know a lot about this, for example, but here's what I know, and then if you want more information, here's other people. So I think having that disclaimer up front is very important too.
And then, unless we have a lot more to say on the subject, I would like to pull this back towards talking about communities again, because I don't want this to turn into um, Malcolm having to defend or defend-ish trans and masked people for how they tend to congregate online, because that would be kind of shitty, and that's not really what I wanted to do here today.
Oh,
So yeah, I don't think that's where it was going. I don't think we were going there. I just want to pull it back before we get. I just know that it started to shift, and let's all just. It is an important discussion, but I wanted to talk about how communities shake out online, and yeah. So
Malcolm, if we do wind up finding, can it be in like the West Side Story sense where we like are like snapping
Or I
down
aggressively snap at you.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. That's the way I prefer
I'll
to fight.
sing. Well,
everybody
to be
through
fair,
our
Alora said that this isn't a debate panel, and I did say yet, ironically. So let's not get too spicy, okay? Everybody settle
All
down.
right. Y'all do it, and I'll bring hot cocoa for everyone after, okay?
Oh,
I'm
hell
not a part of
yeah.
this.
I was just, yeah, no, my intention, of course, not to debate. Yeah, absolutely about community. I do have a couple spicy takes that are related to community, however. So, but I might wait on those.
yeah, the question that I wanted to ask next was when you set out, or as you have been building a community as a content creator, was there anything specifically that you wanted to do, like any goals in terms of content, in terms of how you want the community to be set up, or or, or anything like that? This is the reason I did try to get bigger creators for this first time. I do want to get a mix in upcoming panels of not just big name, but big name and small names. We can get so we can lift up some smaller creators. But I did think for this first one, for this first topic, I wanted people that were relatively bigger in the content creation space, that have experience building a community, and or may have explicitly thought about this. So um, was there anything in this context of trans communities online, or even just the community in general? Did you have anything like that planned out, or organically?
I was desperately dog whistling to feminists, and then a whole bunch of trans women showed up. And these turfs keep saying some shit about how trans women are ruining feminism or something. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think that's the case.
And how
But
trans men are just lesbians in denial or whatever. Yeah.
oh
I
god.
miss my lesbian sisters. I wish I could go back, but it's too late.
Oh god. Oh, no. But yeah, I didn't really try to reach out to any particular like trans community. At the time, I actually didn't feel like super aware of trans issues, and I realized like, wow, I have a lot of trans people in my community just because I was talking about feminism. Like, what do I do about this? And then I'm like, well, I better go learn about trans people. And that's, yeah, I didn't really plan, but now I'm thinking like, well, what can I do, especially since gender is something I focus on a lot. Like, what can I do to get more cis women and more trans men like around the community? So thank you for like having the panel and like shaking out that helping us kind of consider.
Actually, I can speak to active community building because uh, for our comic in specific, the trans community that I foster, actually, I have aimed for people who are actively who are cis, who may be finding themselves in where kind of crosses over to the trans experience in a way. As an example, like cis men who may have gynecomastia, or cis women who may have like PCOS. These things that do allow that that still result in a like dysphoric sense of their bodies often, and letting them know that they're just as welcome with people who are trans, and trying to get that sort of solidarity really built together.
Yeah, when I so in my background is that I was in like kind of the video game community for a very, very, very long time. I used to work as a video game journalist, and at that fairly well known within the streaming community is Extra Life. I used to write for Extra Life and manage their entire content. So if you're aware of them, you might have read something I wrote at some point. And so I had this long running podcast that wound up in 2020. Like my contracts got dropped, and I started streaming, and I was playing games, and I started talking about politics, and my community just kind of naturally grew from there. And so at the beginning, I didn't really have a community building philosophy. But as it's grown, like it's become more and more important to actually like kind of take into account, the needs of different parts of the community, and like how to grow it and how to structure it in a way that is healthy for everyone involved. And I said earlier, one of my priorities initially was when I realized that I had a lot of trans women following me, to make sure that like the space wasn't sexualizing trans women, which was a concern to me because I also do sex work. And so I just wanted to make sure that this was a safe place, and my community would be a safe place to talk about trans issues, to express yourself and not be like objectified by other people in the community. And just building out separate spaces where people could congregate around their different interests. And it's been an ongoing learning process. I'm still learning like what makes people feel comfortable and safe. But the number one thing I've learned and kind of come to sit with is, when I'm making my content, I want to extend the same amount of patience that I would have needed as a fundamentalist, Christian conservative growing up, to like understand basic trans issues, because there are a lot of people out there who, and this, it can be easy to lose sight of in our communities, who have never met a trans person before, or don't believe that they've ever met a trans person before. Like I came out to my dad not too long ago. It didn't go well, but in his mind, the only other trans person he'd ever met was someone that walked into his record store in the 1970s. So that's kind of what we're working with a lot of people outside of our communities. And some of those people who think that they're cis, when they come into your community out of curiosity, find out that they are not actually cis, and You know,
Absolutely.
having a safe place where they can explore themselves and learn and grow, I think is really, really important. And just being able to be patient, both in your content and also with like your community, I think is important.
See, absolutely. Having that ability for people to ask questions in a safe way and be able to not feel like they're going to get, attacked like a lot of the vocal minority, makes it seem kind of hostile at times. It's like, no, it's okay. We're here to help. And yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I suppose that's the all of the setup done now. So I suppose the next question I have is, what do you think are some of the advantages and disadvantages of being in a like-minded? That's not the right group, but being in a community that's all one identity versus a more generalized one. That's something that I thought would make for a very interesting discussion. So, yeah.
Could you clarify the topic again? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, that was a little bit. I I kind of ran through the prompts that I had, which I'm only just now realizing were all kind of bunched together. But basically, what I'm asking is, there are advantages. I think we've all agreed here that there are advantages to um, banding together in the smaller communities. Not smaller. Sorry, that was in.
It's okay.
It,
Take your
It's
time.
okay. You're doing all right. Yeah.
I was trying to phrase this right. Like, I'm just trying to phrase this properly, where the, we all agree that. And I'm already there. Okay, resetting. I am looking to kick off a discussion about the advantages and disadvantages of, say, like Malcolm's trans mask space versus what seems to be most other people's more generalized. Uh, it's generally queer spaces. That's the discussion that I'm trying to have now. What are some of the advantages to it, and what are some of the disadvantages to it?
So the advantage is to a more not insular, but like a more close knit type of community versus like a more broader or generalized community.
I wouldn't say close knit because that uh, because either kind can be close knit, but just more
Like demographically, like similar,
yes,
right?
yes de- um, de- demographically um demographically insular. I suppose that's not a great way of phrasing it, but my brain can't think of anything else right now. So does anyone have any opinions on that?
Um, like, sorry, do you want to
Oh,
start?
oh no, go ahead.
Everyone's too
Um,
polite. Just get in there. Let's go.
Yeah, Lumi, go ahead, start us off.
Give me some booze
Okay.
and
Let me do blood sports.
streaming art, but I mean, I do stream porn
Sorry,
for a
Rappy.
living, so I have to be polite. No, that's okay. Well, in a way, I guess maybe my experience is a little bit more unique since there is a lot of banding together under the furry community as a whole, to the point where I guess one could consider that to be its own queer space, like its own queer umbrella in a way, because um, there's a lot of outside animosity, I'd say, from people who are outside of that. So yeah, there is a lot of sticking together, but at the same time, we're kind of trying to open up a lot and bring in newer people because it can, how do I put it? It can kind of almost stagnate a little bit unless you are opening up more. But still, at the end of the day, we have a shared identity, I guess. Yeah, there's my ramble again.
I think it depends on like what the goal of your space is. So something that I really like as a boomer about Facebook group functions is that there's like a group for literally
You
fucking
boomer.
everything. Yeah, it's me, I'm the boomer. But there's like a group for
I'm
literally
38.
everything,
Sorry.
right? Oh, you're totally fine. So like the idea that like there can be like co-ed spaces, for the lack of a better term, can be beneficial in a lot of ways of like sharing experiences, talking about policy implications, talking about like mobilizing or doing like on the ground queer activism in real life, things like that. These can have great utility in being co-ed. In other instances, I think of really like closed communities, like surgery forums or surgery groups. And even within that, there's a hierarchy as well, where if you're going to a specific surgeon, there's a private group for you, so you can interact with people who are going to the same surgeon as you. With that, there's smaller groups within that with people who are going to the same surgeon that are getting a very specific procedure. And so there's utility in having. Like selective entry for each kind of group, depending on what the goal of the group is. And the utility for like co-ed groups is obvious is you get more voices, you get more experiences, you get more momentum, you get more bodies to do things and to kind of elevate each other's messages. But if your utility is just kind of building a community where you can talk about specific things related to either your identity or your identified groups issues or struggles or whatever, like I'm trying to imagine like if there's a group for trans men who have I don't know, like a trans guy group for like periods or something like that. There's not really like utility in opening up that space. There can be, but I notice a lot in co-ed spaces, if trans men or even trans women, right? If trans women are like, wow, I can't wait to get electrolysis. Like I really, I'm super stoked to get rid of my facial hair. Like it's going to be so awesome. It's going to be so euphoric. There's always some dumbass that will comment on it and be like, oh, I wish I had a beard. And it just like fucking kills the vibe. Sometimes it is nice to just have like separate areas where we can congregate and kind of like bitch about our own problems without kind of like dragging each other down. Like I was talking about earlier with kind of like the competition of like who can make it more about them. And I think that goes both ways, definitely.
Yeah,
Welcome.
oh, uh,
Jack,
No,
be
it's
quiet.
you,
Limmy's
Jack.
trying to compliment me. Be quiet. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I was gonna say you stole all my points, and I said I wasn't gonna debate, but we're gonna throw down here.
Well, Lumi, after we're done with this, if you want to come, I'll school you on whatever topic you want, okay? I'm just kidding. I love you.
Jack, I'm
mute you.
sorry for interrupting you. Go for it.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, this is a hard question for me to answer, because, like, I never found, like, those super insular groups, you know? Like, growing up, and this is probably, like, a result of when and where I grew up, more than anything else. So I don't know how universal this experience is, but, like, my experience growing up with trans people was seeing them on like Maury Povich and like Jerry Springer, right? And so for a very long time I like shunned those communities just in general. And even when I was like trying to come out, like if there were those isolated insular communities, you know, I didn't know that I had like the right to be in them. And so it's hard for me to say like what the benefits of an insular community are. Like all of Malcolm's points seemed really sensible to me. Like it makes sense that like, you know, trans mask folks talking about, you know, their transitions might be triggering to trans femme folk and vice versa, for various reasons, and that might lead to people being dumbasses to each other. And yeah, it gets murky, right? Because we both share same overarching goals, policy, etc. But like talking about the actual experiential stuff can be difficult with one another.
I was going to chime in really quick, and I say I think, for me at least, and this is not trying to be prescriptive or anything, but when somebody's talking about their own experience, I think if by focusing in on, for me, being about them, it makes it less dysphoric for me. And again, I know everyone's going to be different, but like if somebody who is trans mask is wanting to grow a beard and, you know, really wanting that to come in, even though I want to remove my facial hair, I can take, you know, I can find a lot in common with that desire to have your face look the way you want it. Again, I'm always looking for commonalities with which to relate, I guess.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think that's easier just with older folks, like, whether you're in your 20s or your 30s, etc. But we also have like a lot of younger people in our communities, late teens and early 20s who
Even like
don't
baby
have
trans people who aren't all the
yeah,
way secure yet, it can be difficult to navigate for sure.
yeah, they don't have that like level of maturity to be able to distance themselves in that way, which can lead to community friction, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna get in there on that and say I think it really is what headspace you're in, because sometimes, we have those safe spaces so that when you need a safe space, you can zero in. And I think of like more atomized communities as not inherently more safe, but oftentimes a little bit more safe, especially when you're talking about along the lines of like transness, right? Um, so you won't necessarily have to run in and explain why you'd want something, or get some of the more insensitive comments. Not that you won't run into them, but at the same time, yeah, that's one of the pros. I think one of the pros, it can be both a pro and a con when you're, talking about something that you are going through in terms of your body. And then maybe someone, when I got my breast reduction, there were a whole bunch of jokes. Like I would joke all the times because I have trans women, oh, I'm trying to grow breasts. And I'd be like, I would totally ship them to you if I could. A little bit gross, but I would. Like, and that can be a fun thing, or it just really depends on your headspace. So I think it can be really, yeah, I think it's really, really dependent on your headspace and where you're at the time, and what you need at that moment. So
Agreed.
All right, I'm thinking that was a good discussion. So I I suppose the logical next step would be, what kind of advice would you have for someone that is making? We have mostly been talking about trans communities here, but in general, like a queer community, what the queer slash trans, whatever kind of community, this is a show for queer people, so specifically with a queer lens, um, what kind of advice would you give to people that are just starting up their communities or are considering starting up their communities? What kind of things would you want them to consider um, as they decide how to influence and form their community's culture?
I would say one of the most important things when establishing community is enforce, or to actually basically enforce what I call Rule 1, which is you respect the labels that people apply to themselves, and you do not apply a label that somebody doesn't want applied to them. I think that is a foundational part of building any community, um, because a lot of it does come down to respecting that kind of thing, whether it's how they identify in terms of cis or trans, or whatever pronouns they use, or their genders, or anything like that. Respect labels, absolutely.
I would say just kind of have an idea of what you want your space to do, because that's going to be contingent on what kind of rules you're going to enforce in your community. I've been a part of like community building online for like the better part of the last 6 years, from like serious kind of like, support groups to literal shit posting and roast groups. It just kind of depends on what kind of atmosphere you want to make, what kind of people you want to have present in that space, and then just making sure that you're not like willy nilly with the rules. For example, there was a group that I was in for a really long time called FTM No Rules. It was great. We all just made fun of each other all day. It was so fun. It was so exhilarating. It was the best time of my life. That's why I'm now an internet cyberbully. But part of that culture was just that we were there to like roast each other and like flame each other and like have a good time, and making sure that like people that were not privy to that kind of interaction were asked to leave or were removed immediately, just because like for their own like well-being. Just having a goal and then making sure like your community and the composition of your community reflects the goal of whatever kind of community you're trying to build.
yeah, and I think that recognizes like inherently, you're not going to be for everyone.
Yeah,
No matter how much
absolutely.
like, I've been known as the cozy streamer, but it's really been hard for me to sometimes accept like you're not going to please everyone. There's no way you can serve everyone, not even within the queer community, and that's okay. that's why it's incredible that, Malcolm's community is different than mine, Riverboat Jack's community is different than mine, because there are different spaces people can go. And so by being your own unique self and doing what's going to be best for you to be happy in that space and be able to maintain that space, that's going to be really, really core in my opinion.
So that
Yeah,
means you and I have the same community, Lumi. Sorry.
oh,
The exact same community, 100%.
Enjoy all the furries.
Oh yeah, let's go.
I was just gonna add that like while managing your community definitely shapes it, your content also shapes your community. Like the kind of content, the kind of rhetoric, the kind of uh, way you communicate ideas while being a content creator, that also heavily shapes your community as well, right? Like there's a reason the community that has arisen around, just off the top of my head, like Stone Toss, for example, is just toxic garbage, and it's because the content is toxic garbage, and that will also greatly determine kind of what your community is like.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that last point. Here on the Demon Mama server, we do have 2 dedicated debate channels, and there is a reason why we have them there. Um, so that if people are starting to get into things, just go down there and talk about it there. Which,
Yeet them into hell.
well, no, this is the Demon Mama server. They're already there.
True. Fair
Super
point.
hell.
Yeah, you basically have one of the best communities I've seen online, I'd say. You guys have done a really good job of organizing Demon Mama server.
Yeah, I'd love to take credit for it, but it really is just I came in a lot later, and it really does. The streamer defines who you're talking to. So I would imagine, Lumi, you said that you have mostly non-binary people. That makes sense. You're non-binary, Riverboat Jack. I'd expect a lot of trans femmes in your community, and Malcolm, I would expect a lot of trans mass people, and Repti, obviously, a lot of furries. So yeah, that it is clearly a lot of things that the streamer content creator definitely influences that. Um, I'm running low on topics. So I did say 8 hour to an hour and a half. I was expecting it to run to a little over an hour. Um, but does anyone have anything to say as or any more topics that they want to discuss on this? Oh, else we can wrap up.
Um, I just wanted to say thank you for hosting this panel. I know doing the first of anything is always going to be a challenge, and I respect you a lot for throwing yourself out there and putting this together. This has been a great conversation. So, um, yeah.
I was going to pull out suggestion after suggestion, so it is good that if we're wrapping up that we're doing it now, because I will go on forever.
I did want to make a quick point here. To say that this has actually been a lot of stress for me because I am autistic and I like having a guidebook, and I basically jumped
Big
out
mood.
there with no guidebook and no net. And after I first announced it, when I had Malcolm on here, I was like wrecked for like a day, and it can be stressful doing stuff like this, especially when you're not sure if you're gonna find people for the panel and stuff like that. And I did just want to make sure that I did say that because a lot of times online there is the impression that everyone is just doing fine, and most people aren't fine. And I want to make sure that we don't leave out the discussion on mental health, and how stressful, and how sometimes people just have bad brain days and just can't do anything, whether it's because of executive dysfunction or whatever. Mine literally disables me.
Yeah.
Like literally government certified
Same.
disability. So I want to be sure that as I do this, that the since we're talking about culture, I want to actively make sure that I set the culture in this panel that disability and stuff like mental health is not something that just we don't really talk about. I want to be sure that we can actually talk about it and that there's I I'd love for there to be no stigma, but
I love
I
that,
will settle
by the
for
way. Oh,
a
sorry.
lot lesser stigma. So yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, no, I'm absolutely for that. Again, being ADHD, autistic, DPDR, I literally take 20 pills each morning to remain halfway functional. But and no, disability and mental health are integral to a lot of us. I mean, it's yeah, so encouraging that kind of discussion, especially with things like executive dysfunction, which is um, what was a quick statistic? Like I know with ADHD in particular, individuals with that are what was it? Basically, it's like 30% behind neurotypical people in terms of um, social development and everything like that. So that's if you're unmedicated. Once you're medicated and such, you can start to catch up, but it takes a long time and it takes a lot of energy, which you don't necessarily have a lot of. Um, and yeah,
Well, thank you so much for putting it together. For what it's worth, you freaking crushed it. Appreciate you having us on, and you avoided any significant fighting, even though I was totally ready to duke it out with every one of you. This
Hey,
panel has
name the
been
time and
aggressively
place,
sweet.
Lumi.
Okay, all right, all
Time and
right. I'll
place.
respect the space. I'll respect the space.
yeah, you'll never fight with me because I will. I don't know. I don't have enough skills streaming to be able to fight, so I'll just dodge under all the punches, I guess.
Lumi, I challenge you to a duel. My weapon of choice is cuddling, so
Oh,
Okay, I'm
okay.
wrecked.
I'm
I'm
ready.
Yeah.
already destroyed.
yeah.
Yeah,
Regular
no.
blankets or weighted blankets.
Wait, I think I have the advantage as officially being disaster lesbian. I have the advantage in all regards related to cuddling of any sorts.
See,
With
you're gonna
anybody.
win.
It sounds
I
like
thought you said what?
it sounds like me and Jack are the only adult human debate bros and bras here. So I think that you should leave the fighting to the adults, children. I'm
Yeah,
just kidding. I love
yeah.
you guys.
Oh, well.
When are you going to be 40?
Me?
Because yeah, I'll be 40 in 2 years.
I can't tell you. It's a secret. I can't reveal my true
Okay.
age.
Yes.
Malcolm is 140, so
I win that debate too. Man, anybody else want to debate?
I'm only 22, so I have to shut up.
I've actually got a quick question regarding community composition. I know with my community, we actually have a very wide range of people in terms of their age, from 14 all the way up to again people in their 70s. Um, are your guys' communities or your communities in general? I don't know if guys is appropriate. Sorry. Are y'all's communities um, focused mainly around a particular age demographic, or are they spread out more? Would you say?
mine vibes around my energy or my energy, my age, but that we do have people that reach I don't know how young, but we have people that are younger, and then we have people all the way up to at least 50s. We occasionally just check in, say, get age ranges, and we definitely have at least a few regulars in their 50s, up to their 50s.
Yeah, mine goes up into the mid to late 60s, I believe. I've seen some folks. I think the demographic tends to skew a bit younger. But we have a pretty good spread of ages. I've been actually kind of surprised at how many people in their late 30s, late 40s even are in my community, which is really really cool.
Yeah,
I
there's
feel like.
something. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead. You're good.
No, no, it's your turn.
Stop! Everybody's so nice. I want to stop.
Aggressively sweet.
Insult me. Somebody insult me. This is ridiculous. No, I'm
I
just
will
kidding.
start dropping actual hot takes, and then we'll fight. But no,
I'm
you won't.
down. Let's always do it. I was gonna say most of my community is probably like 18 to 35. I know that there's some geriatric folks that hang out every once in a while, but I feel like yeah, a lot of the trans demographics are like skewed younger, but also like it's so hard to tell because like none of us really look our age. To be completely honest, I was literally fucking shocked that Jack is 22. I thought that you were older than me, so I was like, "What the fuck?" So it's kind of hard to gauge each other's age sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely wasn't lying.
I'm combing my brain for hot takes right now. So let's
HRT
see.
is the fountain of youth. That's my hot take. I stole that from someone in my chat,
That's
by the
actually
way.
true.
I didn't
That's
come up with
true.
that.
Like I look like I'm in my mid-20s, I would say.
I went to a protest with my binder on before my surgery, and I had someone say they thought I was 16, and I was mortified. I was like, oh my god.
Let's see. Okay, here's a hot take.
Ready?
I once ate 2 Carolina Reaper chili peppers on a personal stream, but the secret is you don't swallow. Swallowing the Reapers is not good. You have to actually chew and spit. So, and apparently that's a divide upon
Oh,
things.
there. I'm definitely not a quitter.
I don't
do
know.
that.
I don't know that that counts as eating them.
Well, like the official competition rules, I guess, for hot peppers, like people. So when people actually eat them, they actually have to throw them up again. Otherwise, they'll be in agony for 24 hours or so. So basically, you can just chew, and spit.
I feel like that's the
Oh,
point to be in
no.
agony, though. Is that not the point
Oh,
of
you're
eating
about
the hot pepper?
you are in agony. But if I wanted to experience like agony on, in a restroom, I mean, I have IBS. I would, and I'm lactose intolerant. I would just chug like 3 milkshakes, and it'd be about the same thing there.
Yeah, to be honest, don't eat hot shit on stream. I had to learn that the hard way.
It's
I
hard to recover from.
well, I downed a packet of are any of you familiar with like the bulldog spicy ramen?
Oh yeah.
No.
Well, they make a times like a times 10 or times 5 variety, and as a fundraiser goal for raising like 5K for trans peeps, I was like, okay, I'll down the entire like spice sauce
Oh, fuck.
packet, and do not recommend. I could feel it burning through my intestines, and then I threw up. It was terrible.
You can't just go like right for the hottest thing. You have to build your way up. You can't just go for it, you know?
No, you gotta do it. I will say this: there is a secret to enduring a hot pepper sensation, which is to put on really good music that you can like really vibe to, and once you get into the music, you just kind of rock out, and it like changes the pain to like an endorphin rush of pleasure instead. That's the secret. Like legit. That's how I did it. And I still wish I knew what my
Sexy or
vibe that was.
spicy?
Maybe
There's
both.
a lot of sweating, a lot of blushing, and you're tired at the end of it. So I mean,
Come
Well,
to your
those certainly were
conclusion.
hot takes. Yeah, so I think that while it's been fun just hanging out and just chilling with you, this is a panel, and I'm probably just gonna start asking for. I suppose I could ask for closing statements. That's more of a debate thing. But before I do, I just want to say, make a note to myself in the future, and to any streamers out there, when you're streaming or talking for a while, and you have to continue streaming, make sure you get room temperature water, not cold water. Stupid past self, because that causes your vocal cords to constrict, and I have some super icy water that I can using. So,
and make sure to actually drink water. Don't be like Vosh, who goes like on rants without taking a sip for hours.
yeah. All right. So, closing statements, and then you can drop cell phone and stuff. And thank you all for coming. So, closing statements, if you have any.
I won the debate, so I'm gonna crown myself victor. I owned all of you with facts and logic. yeah, get wrecked, I guess.
Actually, I would actually. Sorry, you're doing the closing thing. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Go ahead.
I would say I actually would genuinely be interested in debating you at some point in the future because I think we could have a really interesting discussion.
I'm always down. Always down. You just have to DM me. I'm always free. Um, but yeah, I'm an adult human debate bro. I'm Malcolm. I'm Goddamit Malcolm on everything. I host all Trans Mask Everything panels every Sunday, except for the Sundays that I don't feel like it. My New Year's resolution was to do an all Trans Everything panel every month to try and like community build and like come outside of my bubble. Working on that, but I'm a busy bee. Yeah, I think that it's cool that we have our own spaces, and I think that it's cool that sometimes we have conjoined spaces. I think that's cool, and I think that we should all get along. I think that we should all learn from each other's experiences and be comfortable asking questions or just saying, I don't know enough about that and shutting the fuck up. I think that that would improve like 99.99999% of trans discourse online. Um, yeah. Thanks for having me. I appreciate everybody's time.
Yeah, I just want to, again, thank you for putting together this panel. This has been a really good time. I think it was a good discussion to have just openly and in public, There's not enough, I think, trans inclusive discourse in the circles we all run in, unfortunately. And yeah, this has been a great time.
And I'll debate you as well. I mean, anytime. No.
Well, I'm a master debater, so you have no chance.
I'm one of those
we
things.
actually have a lot of opinions in common, so it would be basically like a circle jerk instead of a masturbation. No, whatever. Masturbation. I can't talk.
And I'm Lumiru. I'm the one that let Malcolm think he won the debate. We'll just leave that one there. Malcolm, you're free to think that. I'm glad that we got to get together and have this conversation again. Diversity of tactics, diversity of community. We love to see it. And hopefully, what I'm hoping to get, moving forward is how can I be more inclusive and have a more welcoming space for more trans masked people. And I guess that's going to be, hopefully I can get Malcolm on to drag him a little bit and meme with him and defeat
let
him
Malcolm
more.
win all the debates. That's how you expand your community.
Yeah, I'm trying that tactic here. We'll see if it helps.
Okay, update me.
debate you
Wow,
too,
Malcolm, you want
Louis.
people to let you win?
Of course.
Yeah, it's
Damn.
if just in case you were wondering, that
all
is
that
the lost
testosterone.
lesbian. It's the lost lesbian in me. She's
God
screaming.
damn it.
She's like, please.
Yeah, lesbian plus testosterone. I mean, that's like
God.
Incredible Hulk right there.
It's true. It's so confusing,
Just punch through a wall and
Cry all
there
day.
you go. I guess I'll debate you too, Lumi. Although you have better hair than me, so I don't think that would work.
It's true, Lumi. You do have great
best
hair.
best hair of anybody in the stream. My closing statement again is I thank all of you guys. You're all wonderful, and I thank Laura for having me on. Somebody who doesn't have an actual normal stream. I appreciate that. And in terms of my socials, you can follow me on Twitter at RaptiFeathers, just all one word. The comic I work on is again called The Out of Placers. Just Google it. It's easier than trying to spell the webcomic name. It's where if you've seen these little rat bird things called yinglets that show up sometimes, they come from that comic. So, but I guess that's my closing thing.
Yeah, and if I could get Malcolm, Lumi, and Jack to plug your socials, since I forgot to ask you to do that too, please.
Oh yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at RiverboatJack. I mainly stream on Twitch, so twitch.tv/RiverboatJack. And I also have a YouTube that you should definitely check out if you're not into the whole live content thing. But unfortunately, I don't have a unique URL. Just search Riverboat Jack on YouTube. You'll find me.
And I'm Goddamit Malcolm on everything. I stream on Twitch. What? Except for on here. Sorry. My bad. Goddamit Malcolm on everything, and then I stream on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/GoddammitMalcolm. Malcolm's 2 L's, like Lincoln. And I upload all the spicy stuff on YouTube for Eternal VODs, and I shitpost on Twitter constantly. So
Shit post is best post.
true. It's how I spend my days. It brings me great joy. So if you like shit posting, come and shit post with me. It's what I'm here for.
The true Twitter hack is to shit post, don't check your timeline, and don't read your replies.
Oh yeah, I just tweet and turn off my phone. I'm like, get fucked.
I do apologize. I had to grab my dog real quick. Were socials?
Yeah.
Dropping socials?
Yeah.
Like Twitch or...
Where you want people to find you?
Oh, Twitch. Lumi Rue. But if you want to find me other places, add an LUV on the end of that, and you'll find me on Twitter. You'll find me on Instagram. Maybe you'll find me on TikTok, but that's a work in progress. But Twitch is my main thing. So you can also like pop over to my YouTube. Got some panel, like a really good panel up there, and some other things. So thank you for having us, and thanks.
I had one social I forgot to plug. This one is if you're 18 plus, you can watch me actually stream art at bacarto.tv/rapti because again I draw furry lewd stuff. Really be 18 plus if you're gonna join.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I am Alora Anophis, ALORA, ANOPHIS. If it's on Twitter, it's got an underscore in the middle. And real quick, I'm going to be plugging some panels that I would like to put together. I'd like to get some base trans and base aspec stuff. So I'm looking for ace and trans people that are willing to go on for a decent amount of time covering the really basic stuff, because I want it to be just a series starting from scratch that anyone who is questioning or curious could get into with no prior experience. Um, um, if you're interested, hit me up. You can also find me on the Demon Mama Discord server. That's where I am most of the time. Also, I'm looking for people for a detransitioner panel. People who have transitioned, who are transitioned, or are considering detransitioning.
Ooh, I have a good person for you. I'll DM you their stuff.
Yes, I've been meaning to get in touch with you because right now my perception is that there is a stigma within the LGBT community against detransitioners because they are weaponized, and I think that is a shitty thing. And I'm looking to get a panel of people together to discuss that. I am not interested in transphobia. I am interested in good faith discussion that isn't using the detransition against trans people in general. And I thought I had one more thing.
That's a really good idea, actually. I really like that one.
Yeah, that's what. Let's see. Gender fuckery, the asexuality. One more there.
You mentioned the Christian, the religion stuff.
Yes, I would really love to get a topic, a panel or two going discussing the intersection of queerness and religion and spirituality, and maybe a separate one on the intersection of queerness and religious trauma, because both I think are interesting topics. I'm not interested in going full r/atheist. I'm looking to have a actual discussion, not a hate circle jerk. But and then I just want to use this time while I have you all here to say, Evie Lupine, I would love to have you on for an ace and or kink discussion panel sometime. And also, one of the rare times that I will probably want a straight person on here. I'm Sharko Zero. I would love to have you on for since you do have the thing you're your project of positive masculinity, I would love to have you on with a bunch of queer people who have had to construct their masculinity, like trans mass people or non-binary people, people who weren't born into essentially their masculinity and had to come up with it themselves. I think to be a fascinating discussion between you and queer people. So those are my shout outs. So yeah, I, 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 I want interesting topics for panels. What can I say? Does anyone have anything else?
I am Gucci.
Yeah.
Cricket noises, I guess.
I thought you were Malcolm.
I don't know why I'm always just. I don't know why Lumi's so mean to me. Can anybody explain to me why?
I don't know.
I
Lumi's just
wanna
a mean
fight with
person.
You're fighty, and I like fighting, and I don't get a lot of people that'll be fighty back with me. So I'm like, Malcolm, please fight me.
Okay, well you pick the
You have to
topic and the
secure a hoodie
time,
game.
and we'll do it.
Only memes. Only memes. I just want you to roast me.
I have a good idea. Why don't we do like a roast panel, and then we take turns roasting everybody, like
My
consensually
chat
and
would fall
nicely.
apart. They would not know what to do. Actually, no. My chat is very good at this now. I take it back. All they've done today is roast me.
I will
How
say that
about I
one
come and roast your chat?
interesting, I'm not really interested in debate, but what might be fun would be like have a lighthearted roast thing that is a charity fundraiser. Just have a mock debate where everyone's just roasting each other in good fun, and use that time to raise money for.
I'm the
I don't know.
easiest target.
I'm down. I'll roast the fuck out of whoever. I love it.
Yeah.
Comedy Central roasting my life. I'm down.
The single most important panel topic, though, we can all agree is debating which hoodies are the best and where to get the best hoodies. And
Zoomies.
Zipper versus non-zipper hoodies.
Non-zipper. Your beard hair gets caught in the zippers. It's not worth it. I'm serious. If I have on like a zip-up hoodie, it gets my goatee in the zipper sometimes. It hurts.
Also, I guess
That
like
sounds
maximum
awful.
large size.
What do you say?
Do we go like 2 sizes above or 3 sizes above? You know, we want to make sure, is it like a hoodie debate? That's the one that all, you know, queer people can engage in.
That's true. And beanies. Hoodies and beanies. Those are the two that we're all going to be in on.
True. I was wearing a
All
beanie
right,
yesterday.
Beanies. Check your beanie privilege. I can't wear a beanie.
We're kind of generating here. As much as I would love to continue this, that I do want these to be more focused. And since we have the discussion of forming an active culture, I don't want my panels, with all due respect, to be.
Who me?
I want them to be a bit more focused than
No
this,
worries.
even if we are in the end card. So I'm going to end stage in just a little bit, and I just want to say thank you to everyone for coming. I will drop all of your socials. I don't have some of yours. I have your Twitch stuff. So I had some of you a couple hours ago for your socials. I will drop them in every chat and the stage discussion channel. Which ones I have. But thank you all for coming, and have a good night. And I'll see you later.
See ya.
Peace.
Peace
You.
and blessings.
Love all of you guys. Take care.
Okay, we're done. Hello, chat. How you doing? How y'all doing? Yeah, it's just not worth doing monetization on my channel yet. It's really not. You got caught in a non-stop infinite phone call loop? Oh no! I saw that episode of Star Trek. We surviving. Hey, Recall. Much appreciated. Yo, thanks for stopping by, Altisa. Isn't family fun? No. New kitties from though. That's exciting. Hello, Archangel Decab. Hello, Felicity. I look fantabulous, Spherical Man. Thank you. As I said at the beginning, I am wearing sweatpants today. But hey, I got my dress on. I got it zipped up. It's supposed to be a dress. It's not supposed to be a top. Yeah, I know I'm fat. You all can say it. It's okay. I didn't have time to throw on like the tights and underwear and shit after I got this on, so I just threw on sweatpants instead. How am I feeling today vis-a-vis gender? I mean, my gender is fine. My body is big. You're beautiful. Well, thank you. Live in the Midwest a while, you'll appreciate a gal with a little extra. Well, I live in the Midwest. Focus in here? Hell yeah. Do you think we care? I don't know. I care. Does that mean you're not wearing underwear? Look, you're thinking too much about this. You're thinking too much about it, Archangel. Man. Wearing clothes during debate. Yeah, I know, right? It's the real power move would be not wearing clothes to a debate panel. That's the real power move. Yeah, I had to put on, you know, much like a bear, people in Minnesota have to put on weight for the winter. Yeah. Yeah, I do make for a very good cuddle buddy. It's the hippy dippy stream. Oh, no, look at Flash. This is for you. Oh, Daddy. Yeah. To be clear, Rhodes, thanks for coming to the panel. We in the Demon Mama server and on the team appreciated your presence. It went very well. I think it went very well, too. Always love checking in with the imps. But yeah, Altisa, thank you so much for subscribing with Prime. If I learned anything from the panel, it's that I'm not really queer because I own neither a hoodie nor a beanie. Look, you do need to own a hoodie. That's non-negotiable. The beanie, however, is negotiable. Okay. I am a firm supporter that every trans person needs an oversized hoodie they can disappear into when needed. Oh, you're Rapti. Gotcha. Sorry. I no longer have a hoodie. Mint, no! I'm wearing both a hoodie and a beanie right now. Literally yesterday I was wearing a hoodie and a beanie. Yeah, imps fly together, Semi-Mighty Duck. Yeah. If you enjoyed that stream, by the way, I've been streaming now for about 2 hours. If you want to throw some biddies or subs my way, I greatly appreciate it. Or tip me directly with ! Tip, or you could buy some merch with ! Merch. Speaking of beanies, though, we do have a beanie, and we also have hoodies in the merch store. I learned about you via the imps. Well, the imps are good folk. We have the fascism is bad beanie. We have the Riverboat Jack hoodie. They work well together. I feel Lexa Black. I feel like NBs wear cloaks. You know, I feel like that's what NBs wear. Well, Semi-Mighty Duck, that's where you're going wrong. You're going outside. I never go outside. I just sit in my apartment. Have I heard of Oodies, the massive oversized blanket hoodie? I have not, but that sounds wonderful. Only the wizards, so like 60% of NBs. True. Mithril Miss, do it! Yeah, fuck being outside. So it's a Snuggie with a hood? That sounds about right. I wear a bathrobe with a hood? Hell yeah. Snuggies have hoods? Hell yeah, they do. Okay. I am tired as hell. And I'm supposed to be on vacation this week. So I'm gonna raid Lumi Roo, because I like them a lot. Everybody into the raid. Are Snuggies still in? I don't think Snuggies were ever in. Make content in that dress? No. Hey, the Mac Geek. Love your face. I'm trying to take it easy this week, guys. All right. Bye. I clicked the wrong button. There we go. Bye.